So in the previous video, we talked about how to calculate the empirical formula for a substance. Empirical formula is the simplest whole number ratio of atoms in a molecule. Now, sometimes the empirical formula is the same as the molecular formula. By definition, the molecular formula, get my pointer again, the molecular formula is what is actually present, the number of atoms actually present in a molecule. So, for example, good old H2O, liquid water, or water. That would be an empirical formula because I already have my subscripts of my elements in its simplest form. I can't further subdivide those without getting decimals. So that is an empirical formula, and it is also a molecular formula. That is actually what is present in a water molecule. Well, there are some substances where their empirical formula and molecular formulas are different. They differ by a particular factor. That factor can be calculated by this equation. So to determine the molecular formula from a given empirical formula, obviously you need to first determine the empirical formula if it hasn't been already given to you in the problem. Then to find the molecular formula, the number of atoms actually present in the molecule, you need to take the molecular mass, and this will always be given to you in the problem, divided by the empirical mass. The empirical mass is the mass, the molar mass, of the empirical formula. You do that division. The number you get from that division is the number that you use to multiply the subscripts of your empirical formula by to get your molecular formula. So for example, let's say I have this particular molecule, this hydrocarbon C3H4. I know I have the empirical, that's the empirical formula, C3H4. And I know the molecular weight or the molar mass of the molecule, 121 atomic mass units. I want to know what the molecular formula of this hydrocarbon is. So I go ahead and I take the molecular mass, which was given to me in the problem, 121 AMUs, divided by the empirical formula. So I look at my empirical formula, and I calculate its empirical mass. So 3 carbons plus 4 hydrogens gives me 40.07. When doing that division, I get a big fat 3. What that means is that my molecular formula is 3 times heavier than my empirical formula. So that means I need to take that 3, and to get my empirical formula, I need to multiply that 3 to each of my subscripts in the empirical formula. So my resulting molecular formula is C, 3 times 3, or 9, H, 4 times 3, or 12. So that is how you calculate the molecular formula for a substance. To do that, you have to first know the empirical formula for the problem. Sometimes you will need to calculate that given mass percent data. You also need to know the molecular mass of the substance. That will always be given to you in the problem. There's an example of this on your Canvas worksheet, and we will also do an example in lecture.